Hey, this is Matthew, and welcome back to Nerd News Today, Toy Fair 2021. We're now joined on the other side of the screen by Jonathan Cathey. He is the CEO of the Loyal Subjects, one of my favorite little minifigure companies out there. Jonathan, how's it going today?
It's going good, my friend. It's going good.
Thank you so much for joining us here during our Toy Fair virtual event, if you will. And I'd like to start by asking the first question I'm asking everybody we're talking to during this event, and that's what was your favorite toy growing up?
It could have been my Kenner Han Solo action figure. I don't know. I was really fascinated with him. And I was fascinated with Greedo too. I had a big Shogun Warrior, one of those big sort of rotocast ones. They had like the shooting missiles and the skates on the bottom. I used to love that. I had one of those when I was a kid.
That's a good toy to have, but I gotta ask you, who shot first, Han or Greedo?
Well, of course, Han. Stone Cold Killer. Come on, man.
So let's get up to speed with what you guys are doing over at TLS. Now, last year you guys had an excellent showing at Toy Fair 2020, but I know COVID has kind of screwed things up. So I guess before we start talking about what's in the line, how much has the pandemic affected business for the loyal subjects and what you guys have been doing?
I would say, like everybody in the first half of the year, it turned everybody upside down. So it's, a brand like the Loyal Subjects that had sort of a consistent business cadence with like GameStop and Hot Topic and some of these retailers, the specialty retailers. As soon as those, essentially stay-at-home orders were out and about, and those corporations had to, make sure they were taking care of the public and taking care of their employees. They had to shut them down. A lot of Hot Topics were in malls, a lot of GameStops and strip malls, and they're able to sort of double down on their D2C, their e-commerce business, and do curbside pickup, but not the same thing as going into a store. So overnight, you could say that we lost about 5,500 stores, and that persisted till August before we really started shipping Walmart some of these larger programs. So the back half of the year was excellent. Front half of the year was, we're kind of right there with everybody else, going, with all the questions and sort of anxieties that all companies had during the first half of the year.
Well, speaking not just for toy collectors, but I think all of humanity, 2021, things are looking rather optimistic, and hopefully they
Yeah.
continue in that direction.
Oh yeah. Well, actually the back half of 2020 was excellent. So we launched Best Action at Walmart. We were top selling, both of our facings were top selling facings in the entire electronics section, which is now the entertainment section. We launched some music SKUs. Those sold out fairly quick. And now we got like a more robust music program launching at Walmart. So the back half of the year was excellent. Even one of our action vinyl 2-packs was the best seller in the holiday features at Walmart. So things started picking up pretty good. Really positioned us for 2021. So have a lot of really great business, more product builds, more shelf presence at Walmart. Some really great product builds at Target. Our partners, our core specialty partners, are coming back to life. Hot Topic, GameStop, Books A Million, Go Calendar. Things are going.
So I know that the pandemic did cause some delays in products here and there. So if you don't mind, can you kind of run down what stuff you guys showed? We'll start with action vinyls. What action vinyls you guys showed and debuted at Toy Fair last year, and where we are with the release dates for everything that has been since then to now?
Yeah, I think you could order these on GameStop.com right now. Or at GameStop, I think you can order them for pre-sale, and they will be in store. And then Walmart has them on Walmart.com. And we released the Gremlins, we released Edward Scissorhands, we got Beetlejuice, we got It. Some of the anime SKUs developed more into the best action profile, but we still have some of those anime SKUs coming back to life for action vinyls for 2021, which is really cool. And a TMNT action vinyl Wave 3 idea that we're starting to build. So I would say from what we showed at Toy Fair, we got about 2/3 of it out. We didn't get the Big Trouble in Little China or the Lost Boys, but we got Edward Scissorhands, Gremlins, and Beetlejuice, and It. We got the WWE SKUs out. Some of them are even China exclusives. We got the Naruto SKUs out. We got the Lord of the Rings SKUs out. So actually a lot of what we showed at Toy Fair, we did get out in the market.
I'm glad you brought up those WWE figures too, because those are one of my favorites that you guys have done. I'm kind of curious though. There was a bit of a long delay between Wave One and Wave Two to begin with. Are there plans for more of WWE, and will the delays, or maybe not delay, but the wait in between those lines, will it be quite as long?
It depends on the cadence at retail. So like retail is really about statements. So if you need a core retailer to really be the anchor for that first product purchase, and then you kind of tail on some other retailers. But it's a retailer has to be in on WWE. So part of it is just workshopping with the retailer, seeing what they want and need. And so they could turn on a dime, it's, hey, we want WWE, let's really get these programs coming in. Then they might just pause because, some of the data coming back maybe from, maybe some of the core action figure line was soft, not selling as well. So they kind of pared the statements back. So we're involved in that same cadence. We would love just to shove everything in retailers, shelves, but we work sort of in concert with them in a more intuitive way. But we got a lot of WWE out there. I think we sold about 200,000 units. So, I mean, a healthy amount, but we got the second wave where we did it more a la carte. And the reason we started going more a la carte is we sort of had to temper or evolve these releases. So initially we were a blind box program. Problem with that was, bunch of guys going in there and ripping boxes apart, because of scarcity. So that forced us kind of in a position of, okay, well, how do we combat, guys and gals behaving badly, basically destroying the product just to find a rare thing. The other part why we went to a window box format is because we were making these really unique action figures and we weren't showing them off. They're just hidden, floating around in a foil bag. So we wanted to show off more of what we did because we have a lot of pride in what we do. So we developed the window box persona. And still, there's a lot of just ripping things open and those kind of ideas. And then we started doing more of an a la carte of just really doing core characters, which is kind of alleviating the pressure from the retail buyers in the consumer groups to not buy 33 characters, So it was like, okay, let's limit the choice, give everybody what they want, which are these 4 or 5 or 6 core characters that they really want to have in their collection. And so we get rid of the chafe a little bit and some of the C, the B2C characters, the tertiary characters, and really concentrate on the characters everybody loves. So we've played with the cadence a bit on Action Vinyls to find that right sort of beat and formula, and also to open the tent for more people. So we have, really hardcore fans, very passionate people that really follow the brand. And we want, we don't want to keep the brand small. We really want to introduce it, have more people participate in it. And part of bringing more people to the table was opening the packaging so you could see it, and then concentrating more on some of the core characters.
Yeah, I really do like the evolution out into that window packaging. But as you mentioned,
Yep.
there is still a lot of vandalism that happens with those toys, and it's pretty much a commonplace thing for me to go into a Target or even a Hot Topic and see the blacked out window runs that you have, because you have a few mystery ones. It's very common for me to see them just already torn open, and someone's already peeked inside to see what's in this Masters of the Universe one. Is it the rare one or is it Stinkor?
Totally. No, we got rid of those too because of the same idea. It's we make product for everybody. So in my mind, the products that what people call commons are actually the best characters. I mean, a common would be Skeletor and He-Man. I mean, it's the 2 best characters, right? So we want to bring more people into that narrative to play under those stories and those sort of, connections to their main, antagonists and protagonists. And then they could sort of set and recreate their own stories and play. So that was always the objective. I had never understood the third party market or eBay or anything like that. I don't even have an eBay account. So I had no idea that this whole other world exists really, in toy.
It's a dark, dark world.
Until we became part of that persona, right? I think at any given time we probably have over 3,000 listings on eBay of our products, but we didn't intend that to be a byproduct of our product. Well, our intention was to make a cool product and sell it to as many people as that would be interested. That was the main idea, right? It still is the main idea. It's still the main focus. So I can never see myself walking into a store, ripping apart a packaging and peeking inside. I've never done anything like that. So I would just assume nobody else would, but we were wrong. So we had to eliminate some of that, some of those nuances, just because the too many people breaking the civic contract on it. The old honor system of, yeah, it's blacked out. Take a swipe, pull the one arm lever and see what you get. That's the game, The game is to say, I need to know what it is before I buy it. It's like, come on.
Now, on that note, too, I actually just found a mystery one recently, and I got really lucky. In fact, I actually got myself a 196 at Gretsuko. But let me tell you where I was actually
That's
surprised to
cool.
see it was I found it in Five Below. And I was kind of
Yep.
surprised to see the loyal subjects now in Five Below stores. And that was kind of towards the end of 2020. So I'm wondering, what's the marketing strategy behind positioning the toys in Five Below stores at that price point as well? Because it is, much lower than what you normally are selling at. Is this just to get new buyers? Is this to move some overstock? What's the plan with Five Below?
Five Below is a core retailer. So it's like, the loyal subjects, Hasbro and Mattel and Funko, everybody's in there. Everybody knows that it's a core statement, and they have so many stores. So it's a great opportunity to bring some what we call opportunity buys and open people up to the market. Like a Gretzico out the gate wasn't really warmly received. It was at Target for full price. And a lot of little subjects fans kind of pass it by, and then they're like pulling their hair out. Why is that Five Below? It's like, well, if we're so concerned, why don't you buy at full price at Target?
Very true.
But it actually is a very nuanced product. It's one of our most nuanced, with the largest character swath. I mean, there's I think we did 18 characters, and there's 4 or 5 different versions of Gretzico.
And they're good figures.
But yeah, they're really cool. So we sold, that was when Bandai was distributing the brand on the US. I think probably what was happening is Bandai was, circulating the products through Target and some of their other accounts. They probably had some bits and ends in their warehouse, and Five Below is a good customer, So we support having our products in discount retailers, be it Ollie's, Five Below, Target, Marshalls. It's really about the experience. If you guys get a good deal on it, then more power to you.
Absolutely. I'm not complaining about it either. I'm happy to see them there. I'm happy to see more loyal subjects toys out there, and especially that price point, you cannot beat that. So if you missed it previously,
Yeah,
here's your second chance.
we can't guarantee that price point, but these retailers are a really beneficial avenue for all the brands. Funko has, probably some of the largest product statements in these retailers. Hasbro uses these retailers quite a bit. Even Jazzwares or some of those companies. But the idea is that if you get good products into people's hands at an affordable price, you could also bring more people into your conversation, bring more people into the tent. So maybe we're a Gretzico, people, might have passed it by at a Hot Topic or Target. Now they're looking at Five Below, and then now they're getting hip to it, and they're like, oh, this is cool. This is great. So to us, that's a big win.
And you just mentioned Funko there as well. And I got to say, like, I used to buy Funko minis here and there just for certain brands that I liked, but I always found them just be like one of the worst things. Again, because of the whole mystery experience. But the problem with Funko is that you'd have 3 different store exclusives within 3 different figures within each of that range. So, to attempt to complete all of them, I did the Steven Universe figures. I think I probably spent close to $300 on blind boxes, and I think I had just finished it right at that price point. So, I'm kind of glad you guys have moved away from that. You're doing the windows. You're making it a lot more like an action figure.
Yeah, we had originally done that not to make collectors crazy or have them pull their hair out, because before then too, I'm a creative. I'm really a product designer and product builder and a creative. I'm a painter, illustrator, musician. That's kind of where I come from. So I hadn't really cued into the completionist world. So when we were building this, what we were trying to do is actually not have retailers compete against each other. So they have clean lanes. But when you start looking at like things like He-Man, you're like, oh my God, there's 61 SKUs. So it's just, it wasn't a godly amount to push onto a collector, and then also in a ridiculous amount to push on a retailer. Because you walk up for like a normal action figure or a collectible or whatever, at a retailer from a brand from like, let's say one line or one IP, they might have only 4 to 6 characters. Here's the loyal subjects doing everything in the kitchen sink in 4 to 6 different color versions of the same characters. So, you know, I would say we were way out there, and then we had to rein it back in, oddly enough, we got a lot of complaints now back then about that. And now everybody's, there's a posthumous sort of like a nostalgia about collecting TLS He-Man. Well, it was only a couple of years ago. It wasn't
The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. It's, the good old days a couple of years ago. But yeah, I remember, people, why are there so many? There's too many colors. Da, da, da. Now, now you hear the comments of like, how great this all was. It cracks me up, that sort of push and pull, but we decided not to overwhelm people and really just concentrate on core characters that more people would like to purchase.
And I think that concentration on the core characters kind of brings me up to my next topic, and that's I think one of the biggest surprises to come from you guys last October was the Best Action line. You guys just came out of nowhere with that, the 5-inch range of figures. You've got some really interesting licenses. You're doing the Cowboy Bebop figures. Would you mind just kind of running down who was part of that initial launch wave and what the decision was to go into this larger scale of figures?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been an action figure enthusiast.
Same.
I think for a company, for a toy company, I think your metal really comes down to how good you can build an action figure, and not a lot of guys can do it really well. So I understand the tooling side and the industrial engineering side pretty well on toy making. Spent a lot of time in Asia, been there over 86 times, have an office in China, the whole thing. So I really want to evolve the loyal subjects. I hate doing the same thing, being stuck in the ground on something. It's like you constantly got to challenge yourself, constantly got to evolve. And that next real challenge is action figures, which is a really sacred category, and hard to break through. A lot of people have tried, not a lot of people, most people died. A lot of people tried, a lot of people died in there.
Case in point, Funko.
Yeah, right. A lot of brands, because it's hard to make a good action figure. So, you really have to understand tooling, you got to understand process, you got to understand materials, you got to understand joint construction, the industrial engineering side, not just participating and moving things around. You have to understand it from an industrial engineering point of view. So we had a lot of practice at it. And we have a very competent supplier. We have a very competent team in China that are proficient in action figure building. And as we were kind of going through the cadre of our licenses, we really had some openness to building other products outside of action vinyls. So I was like, let's create an action figure disruptor. Let's do it on scale, price, and variety. So the idea was to take scale from the Japanese action figure sort of culture, bring that here, give it like detail, nuance, and accessories, multiple hand gestures, do all these cool, really fun things that were sort of indigenous to Japanese action figure making, but don't bring it over here for $79.99.
And thank you for doing that.
Here, yeah, bring it here for $15.99. So we thought it was a high bar, a very difficult space to break into, a very high bar. And we were doing something that pisses people off, making them uncomfortable. So everybody that was a scale, like had scale, orthodoxy, well, we're going to piss them off. Everybody that is, a Marvel or DC orthodoxy, we're going to piss them off. So we're going to come in as a real disruptor on scale, on assortment, on, really have those great features intact. I got to, Slash is always accompanying me here on my desk. He's got his wallet chain, his bandana hanging out of his pocket. And we wanted to get across multiple genres, of sci-fi, action, adventure, entertainment, anime, music, really kind of build a hero with 1,000 faces and a villain with 1,000 faces. That's what we wanted to do. And, we launched at Walmart this last fall, and we were beating out the bigger brands. We're we're number two, number three in the entire assortment, and some of the kingpins were, you know, 5 or 6 steps behind us. So that was our bet. You know, our bet is great experience, great price, great assortment, and a scale also that allows you to get, you know, a more broad selection on your shelf versus, you know, 4 giant hulks.
Yeah.
You know, so that was our intent.
And you guys had a very, very interesting launch too with the characters you chose, because I mentioned you guys did Cowboy Bebop, you had Big Trouble in Little China, there was Napoleon Dynamite, Lord of the Rings was part of that.
Yeah.
So can you kind of tease maybe who might be coming next? Who can we expect to see in the next few months and perhaps even later into the year?
Yeah. So you're going to get Sauron, you're going to get Strike, you're going to get Gizmo, you're going to get Ace Frehley, Ozzy Osbourne, you're going to get Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael. You're going to get Starship Troopers. You're going to get Buffy and Angel. You're going to get additional Napoleon Dynamite SKUs, additional Big Trouble. Actually, the Big Trouble is one of our most successful figure. It went like fast. So we're bringing more Big Trouble. The idea is, you know, we're covering bases that aren't covered, except TMNT. There's overlap on TMNT, but the reality is, and TMNT is a character in this group of characters, right? So it's not a giant TMNT statement. It's TMNT characters peppered throughout the assortment. But we're really kind of covering the bases that aren't being covered, that still have a lot of goodwill and actually make really great characters. They're really fun to pose. We have great accessories and great stories to tell. I mean, that's our key focus. It's making great characters, great stories, things that, you know, traveling the road less traveled a bit, and giving people an opportunity to buy things that they don't normally see at retail.
And I don't think you mentioned it, but you guys are also doing Avatar: The Last Airbender as well, right?
Oh, Avatar. Oh, okay. So yeah, so you'll see, you know, we got a good selection of Avatar coming to Target and Walmart. It's going to be awesome. That is, we're being pretty aggressive on that build. Also have Garbage Pail Kids, WWE collab, which is going to be really
Oh,
cool.
interesting. That looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh, it's killer, and that will be at Walmart in spring. So we have Andre the Giant, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man. That's it, you know, and then we have Superama, which is really our Marvel sets that are going to be at GameStop, at Target, at Hot Topic. Have a really unique sort of storytelling feature where you can swap the backgrounds. It really comes in its entire environment that is really uniform, beautiful, looks great on shelf. I mean, this should take over all the things that people are collecting dust on. This should wipe it out because it's such a beautiful set.
Yeah, speaking of the Superama, is that statues or those articulated figures, just to be clear?
There's statues. So articulated figures is a Dominion hold only by Hasbro.
Of course. They're not letting that go anytime soon.
Yeah, but we stuck with Marvel Classics. We really did have an innovative feature of the sort of choose your own adventure storytelling idea. And once you click all the bases in, they really give you the full scape of the Marvel universe, you know, that whole topography. And the topography is what's missing. Of something that's really uniform, clean, looks good, artistically sound. It's a slick aesthetic, great product, $16.99. It's big too. It's a pretty big product.
Yeah, if there's one thing we never have to worry about with the Loyal Subjects, it's design, because you guys are always making very sleek, very interesting looking things. So yeah, I can't wait to see how that line's gonna all pan out ultimately.
Yeah, it's great. I think Hot Topic had picked up theirs, so they'll be in store probably not too far off. Other items are shipping to GameStop right now, so I think they'll be on shelf in about a month, and they'll be in Target later in the summer.
So just to follow up one more thing about the Best Action line, also, a lot of companies out there these days are doing a lot of Build-A-Figures. McFarlane has been doing that. Diamond has done that. Do you guys have any plans to do a Build-A-Figure to accompany any of the Best Action series lines?
We've done it. I mean, sometimes Build-A-Figures are there to move slower moving SKUs, you
Yeah.
know? So it's like you have to collect them all. I mean, basically throw a handcuff on you and say, you need to collect them all. And because we're going to give you this Build-A-Figure. So, some of it's a gambit, some of it is a gimmick. But we've done them. I mean, we did a Shenron Build-A-Figure. We've done an Attack on Titan Build-A-Figure. We've done them. Now, will we plan on doing something in the future? If it's fun, if people like it, it turns people on, and if there's, as the French say, raison d'etre, we will do it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And you guys also have now more feminine oriented line coming out soon. That's the Cupcake Keepsakes, right? So what's up with that line?
For Keeps, yeah, for Keeps is our most ambitious project we've ever done. We have placement right now. If you go to walmart.com and search for Keeps, you could buy it from walmart.com right now. If we're in line at Target, and again, the number one most coveted category is fashion doll. Number two is action figure. So it's like we've broken into both at mass, which is quite a big step for the company. But what happened for Keeps developed from being around my niece, my nephew, and then some of my friends that had kids who were really kind of wrapped up into their iPhones and iPads, and hearing back from these stories of 4 or 5-year-olds having negative comparative ideas of like comparing themselves to Kylie Jenner at 4 or 5, of like, why am I not? That was concerning to me. So the idea, the focus on negativity and the focus on this device versus the in-person communication, the human contact, that I wanted to create a product that would be a fashion doll, and be dynamic, have all the really great fashion play, the threaded hair, tons of accessories, and bring it into an empowerment and an inclusivity and affirmation movement. So the inclusivity is that we want to have a representation of everybody on shelf: African American, Asian American, Native American, Indian American. We want all representations, transgender, gender neutral, LGBT. We want to bring that idea to retail, because there's a big empowering moment that happens when you see yourself on shelf. There's nothing like it. It means that corporate America, consumer America cares about you deeply, that they have you in mind. So we wanted to create something that was a little disruptive from where fashion dolls are now. So fashion dolls is really sort of a role play of a 22, 25-year-old woman. We wanted to bring these in a little bit tighter, so the characters kind of resemble the customer. They're more relatable. They weren't so aspirational as I want to become an adult. It was really, that looks like me. Each character has a bio where they're in a position of power. They're the decision maker in their field, the check writer in their field, and that was the empowerment motif of this, to give kids the feeling of empowerment, that they're great with all the gifts that they were given in life. And then the message, the cupcake, is a stash box. You twist off the top, and we have 20 stickers, and the stickers are affirmations, and they say, you are loved, I trust you, it's okay to make mistakes. The idea is to take one of these stickers, twist it back on a cupcake, and hand to a friend. So you ask, why a cupcake? Because a cupcake is a symbol of friendship. It's a gift. It's a reward. It's a sign of trust. And why do you ferry a message like that and give it to a friend versus just speak it? Because it gives time to pause. So nobody's interrupting each other over that communicative action. And then the person could receive it, open the message, and the message is the affirmation. And that really helps build positive communication. So our mission isn't, hey, here's another cool fashion doll on the shelf. Our mission is really about inclusivity and positive thinking. And as we sit today with the world, disrupted by COVID, and kids missing, an entire year of school, a year and a half of school, we need to build that messaging in. It is very important for kids right now to know that they're heard, to know that they're cared for, and have that continued sort of positive thinking, affirmative, uplifting, inspirational communication going back and forth. And it's tactile. It forces them to look at someone versus the phone.
Absolutely. It's very
Yeah.
ambitious, but I think it's really great. It's got a great story. It's a great concept. So I'm excited to see where this is going to go also. It's a lot of big things coming out for loyal subjects this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, we make things because we believe they have a reason to exist. And that's why we make them.
So let's go lightning round real quick. Just a few things, and this is mostly related to the action vinyls, but a few other things as well. And one thing actually that comes back to the best action line is I'm wondering about the licenses, how that works. So if you have a license for something that's in the best action, does that automatically translate to the action vinyls or vice versa, or are they two separate things?
Yeah, usually we can do both, you know. So it's we can, and again, it's where we are in a product build, where we are with shelf space at retail, where the buyers are with you know what's happening. Buyers in the buying public, the consumer public are, I mean, this best action is a beast. I mean, it is right now the biggest program by far. You know, we knew that action figures was a big category. Oh wow. I mean, it's awesome. It's a beast. So you know, and then we have action vinyls, which we sold a lot. We sold 6 million pieces of these, you know, so we've gotten a lot out there and we've sold a lot. We continue to grow. It's really a collector movement, so it's a little bit more niche. You know, best action is kind of anybody. It's, you know, mom, dad, you know, cousin, birthday gift, good grades, good report card gift, you know, Christmas gift, and it's an action figure enthusiast and a pop culture enthusiast. Just has a really wide net, you know. And action vinyls, we're still concentrating, making sure that we get the right touches, you know, the right nuances, have the right retailers supporting it. But it's still kind of really remaining a very sort of core collector identity.
So one of my favorite lines I used to collect from you guys was the Street Fighter series. So I'm wondering if there's ever any plans to go back to Street Fighter or maybe some other fighting games like Tekken or Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, totally. Again, it just sort of recycles. You know, the good thing about action violence, it can be anything. So it depends. Is the appetite there? Are the retailers willing to take the swing, or the consumer is going to show up to pay for it? You know, so all those things have to combine. You know, we'll always make a cool product. We'll always put our spin on it and make sure that, you know, aesthetically it's great, that it tells the story, so you get to tell your favorites, you know, Street Fighter moment. If, you know, in that case, that's what you love, you know. So we're going to set that up so you could tell it succinctly, but we have to have everybody come to the table and join us at dinner. So as that comes, a lot of it is just opportunity, you know. Walmart will say, hey, we want to do this, do you guys have it? And if we have it, we knock it out.
So I think one of my favorite current lines you guys have is My Hero Academia. I got that whole wave as soon as it came out. Are there
Oh,
plans to continue the My Hero Academia action vinyls this year and into beyond next year too?
we have a wave two already designed. So yeah, there is a plan to do it. You know, hopefully we get the approvals through. Toho is a hard approval process, so it's really about timing and, you know, making sure. But we do have a wave two lined up already.
I'm a big Ghostbusters fan also. I loved what you did this year with those too. Are there plans for Ghostbusters 2 or maybe the real Ghostbusters or even anything related to the upcoming Ghostbusters Afterlife film?
Maybe not, because Hasbro has the lock on it. You know, so Hasbro's doing a lot of it.
I would imagine that's kind of the same answer to something like G.I. Joe or Transformers, which was basically how you guys first began the action vinyls.
Some of these lines are sort of dormant. So some of these companies go to brands like the Little Subjects, or a bit of a tastemaker brand, go, hey, can you revive it? Can you create some interest? And, you know, it's like, we're not doing anything with it. So we come out, you know, we create some interest, you know, get some of the cool guys, cool collectors involved, and then start raising the profile a little bit. And then other brands, kind of other licensees come in, they start doing the same thing. But once you kind of get a critical mass going, you know, at the end of the day, although Hasbro has a licensing component, they're a toy maker. So they're in conflict. They're kind of schizophrenic that way. It's like, we need a license, but we can make it, you know? So, which makes sense, because that's how toy makers are. You know, as soon as they get critical mass, they're going to take it back, because you know, their whole their whole identity is to really control the opportunity at retail with their brands. Makes total sense. But we're part of that halo effect in the beginning. And then once there's a critical mass, then the owner of the brand comes in. They usually take the opportunity. And it's sort of what's happening, I would say, with Hasbro and G.I. Joe at Target, which seems to be, people are pretty excited about. And Transformers with the G1 stuff, if keep on kind of circulating through retail, it's a different program than what their core boys toy programs are. I would say these are fairly niche, where the core boys toy program, I think in the best year of Transformers was $1 billion boys toy program. These are probably somewhere in the 50 to $100 million ideas. So it's a little bit more niche for them.
So I've always wondered, we've seen companies like Mezco doing original IPs, and they've had a lot of great success with that. Have the loyal subjects considered making their own brand and then doing that with Action Vinyls or Best Action?
Oh, we have tons. We have tons of ideas. So yeah, first, licensing is a great vehicle because licensing introduces you to an audience. You get, there's an immediate visual recognition. Oh, Terminator, oh, Predator, whatever it is, of course I know, I love that movie, Bubba. So people are immediately sort of connected in, well, you have the opportunity to participate and open that door to a consumer a lot quicker. So first, you have to establish yourself, doing a sort of a cadre of licensed IP. Now, we didn't do that with girls. We started our entire girl program on our own line. So it didn't happen that way. But when you're talking for collectors and guys and boys, they need to follow something that they're familiar with first. Once you can do that, you can bring in the strength of all of your creative ideas, and then you can start, sort of swimming in IP that is yours. So yeah, there's tons of plans to do that, and we've already developed like 3 or 4 lines.
So hopefully we get to see those in the very near future, because I want to see what that's going to look like. I want to see what an original Loyal Subjects looks like for the male collector base. That'd be interesting for sure.
Oh, it's badass.
So last thing today, Jonathan, what will be the biggest dream license for you to get that you would love to do but haven't gotten a chance to get your hands on it yet?
We've kind of touched every tent pole. Really have. The only one we haven't touched is Star Wars. So I guess Star Wars would be that other tent pole, which is possible because it's sort of on a dip right now. The attentions are elsewhere, except for Mandalorian. Mandalorian is, picking up a lot of that slack. But, the episodes 4, 5, and 6, those would be cool to play in that pool, And again, I understand that it's down right now, that interest. It's not where it was, right? About 4 years ago. So who knows? Maybe there'd be a cool pool to play in at some point. But everything else, you name it, we've done it. We've done 80 plus licenses.
Yeah.
So.
I'm pretty sure I own a bunch of them from all of them anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today. And for folks who want to learn more about Loyal Subjects, what's that website and what's that social media?
theloyalsubjects.com. On Instagram, it's probably where we're most active, Instagram, which is The Loyal Subjects. And then Facebook, or company Facebook, is The Loyal Subjects Co.
So that's pretty easy, folks. The Loyal Subjects, not that hard to look up if you don't know their products. But if you don't know their products, where have you been for the last 10 years, really?
Exactly.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Thanks for all the info. It's been a real pleasure to chat with you today. Thank you for being a part of Nerd News Today Toy Fair 2021. And folks out there watching this interview, stick around. We've got more coming right up.